What's going on, world? This is Christopher Bonilla Fernandez and welcome to another writing video topic. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing you 4 writing tips that I have to offer, mainly because I couldn't think of 5. And if you think these writing tips are going to help you out, I'm going to go ahead and put the timestamp in the description box below. Okay, let's get started. First tip is confidence. Now, be confident when you're writing and write it all. You don't want to have too many regrets when writing and feel that you should have added this here or put that over there in terms of your writing. So confidence is vital, but don't be overly optimistic either to where you can disregard an error, because mistakes will be common. Keep in mind that you are putting yourself out there and you want to trust what you're putting out. But now, you're subjugating yourself to criticism from all sides. And if you don't develop that thick skin of being able to handle it, then prepare for some low self-esteem and self-doubt, including in possible future projects. But if you are sure enough in your writing and confident in what you are doing, then who knows who you might reach just by being yourself in your writing. But with that comes the difficulties of the writing process, which brings me to my next tip: overcoming writer's block. Don't always look for inspiration as your source of writing. You do want to tell a story and convey a message, but don't fear in what you are writing, and keep in mind that what you're writing about has probably been written before, probably better than yours, or maybe you're the one who can write it better. And this stands true to all creatives. You cannot think you're the only one with a good idea. Be consistent with yourself and timing, enough for you to verify that what you're writing about makes sense. Although some companies have ghostwriters and editors that go way too deep, I choose to do it all myself because my interpretation is that if it's not me writing, then it's not really my story. This does not include grammar or typos or punctuation. Another thing is that don't be afraid to start small, but write as much as you can and be as real and honest as you can. Being too vague or metaphorical does have its ups and downs. If you're too metaphorical, then what your audience is doing is basically reading in their language, yet they have no idea what it's saying. And keep in mind that it's okay to be scattered as a writer and have only individual sections complete and others missing. You yourself have to make sure that you know how to get from point A to point B. The point is to try to finish one part and head to the other. In fact, one of the biggest joys a writer can have is finishing a project. A big sigh of relief lets out when you finish. Okay, tip number 3, timing. I know I mentioned to be confident in your writing, but be aware of the timing of your writing. You don't want to date yourself too much. For example, one of my books mentioned my favorite rappers being my inspiration for writing. That includes the late great Mac Miller. But I also talk about KRS-One, Lecrae, and Immortal Technique. Even if some of them are no longer rapping, I wrote about it in present terms, but things change. And if you want to make your work for all ages, then what you're basically trying to write is almost like an eternal piece of literature that can withstand the test of time for generations to come. That's deep. Personally, I have to take my own advice because I have a tendency to use a lot of modern terms and urban words in my writing. With this, you kind of have to be prepared to feel uncomfortable with yourself. What I mean by that is that you are your harshest critic, and at times you may feel something is incomplete. And if you feel your work is obvious, corny, or just kind of embarrassing, then you're better off writing it now and coming back to it later with a fresh mind and right attitude. Or you can share it with others and see their opinions about it. You may not like it, but they might enjoy it. Tip number 4, post-publishing blunders. Okay, now say you're published and now you're going back to it just to reminisce for old time's sakes. One thing you have to keep in mind is that you change as time passes. If you are writing multiple volumes or prequels and sequels to your work or other literary projects, then make time for a reflection period where you analyze your past work and see how much you've changed or see what you made mistakes on. Every book has typos, except the Bible. That just has mistranslations. But that'll be another topic for another day. In the meantime, keep in mind that Harry Potter, the Twilight series, Captain Underpants, textbooks, even your books will have a few errors. This is more along the lines of being very careful if you're editing yourself and to proofread your work 7 times 77 times 7 times. I mean, you're going to want to read it a lot to make sure you don't make the same mistakes. In my books, my faith has definitely changed since I first published at 18 and now being 25 with another 3 books on the way. In my first and second books, I was very into New Age Christianity and focusing a lot on being spiritual with other belief systems, and I even wrote some twisted and blasphemous things about zodiac signs and Christianity, including other religions, and it's kind of a turnoff or either super cringy or completely wrong, some of which could even be considered sacrilegious. And even if I could go back and edit it out, after my reflection period, I chose to keep it. even if I don't believe in some of those things I wrote anymore. I'm gonna let the haters say what they want to say because you cannot escape that. I'm also leaving it in because I want to see how far I've come as a Christian and how much my beliefs and writing style has changed over time. Although it does present a personal challenge of how you are seen as an author. Because suppose you have multiple projects out there, and the first one someone reads could now potentially be their permanent interpretation of you. Then that can kind of be a downer if they read something you're not too proud of, or something that has changed about you, or something from another time. In those moments, all you can really do, after they possibly may talk trash, is pray and hope that they read your other work so they can see you're not just that one piece of paper they read a long time ago. Then again, on the other side of that very coin, they may dislike your recent work and enjoy your previous work more. So even if you've messed up or don't like your work entirely, keep in mind that fans and supporters will ultimately like what they want to like, not necessarily everything you've written. So just be patient about it. Keep writing and see what happens. Okay everybody, thank you all so much for listening. That's pretty much the end of this video with my 4 writing tips that I have. Happy writing, and as always, stay blessed.